Hey everybody, what's up? This is Mr. Extrodin, and I'm not alone as usual. I'm with Rob Sibeko. Thanks for everybody who's been checking out all of our content. We do really love talking about movies. We do love dissecting films, whether it's action, whether it's comedy, whether it's animation, any genre that you can think of. We like doing it. We've done war, we've done animation with The Lion King, we've done romance with Bridget Jones. And this time around, we're going to be doing another romance film called The Holiday. But before we get started, just wanted to let you know, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and click the notification bell icon. If you're new, this is African Frame Podcast with myself and Rob Sibeko, who's a writer, a director, a filmmaker, and he has a book out called Jin's War. I believe he will give us more details later on. But yeah, welcome. We're about to get into it. As I've mentioned before, this is a movie called The Holiday. The Holiday came out in, which year was this? I think it was the early 2000s, 2006.
There you go, yeah.
And then it had a budget of 85 million and it made 205.8 million at the box office. How crazy is that? From 8 million to 205.8 million at the box office. Pardon?
85.
Yeah, the budget was 85, but then the box office was 205.8.
It's more than Star Wars can do right now.
That's true. That's true. It was directed by Nancy Myers.
Written by her as well.
Yes. We've spoken about Nancy Myers on this show before. She's done movies such as What Women Want, the 2001 with Mel Gibson and Helen Hunt.
Yeah.
She's done The Intern, which is one of my favorite movies of all time, starring Robert De Niro and Anne Hathaway. She's done It's Complicated with Meryl Streep and Alec Baldwin. She's done Something's Gotta Give with Jack Nicholson and Diane Keaton. And what was this guy? He was there as well. Oh, Amanda Peet was there, and also Keanu Reeves was there. Father of the Bride and Father of the Bride 2. So
More
yeah,
in credits, yeah.
I think you can, even The Parent Trap. So I think you can see her style, the type of movies that she normally does. It's these family-orientated, suburban type of films,
Yeah.
Realistic type of films, I guess you could say. And so the cast includes Cameron Diaz. Cameron Diaz has been in The Mask. She's been in Charlie's Angels 1 and Charlie's Angels Full Throttle. She was in The Other Woman, What Happens in Vegas. She was in the Shrek franchise as Fiona. She was in
Justin Timberlake.
Pardon?
Bad Teacher with Justin Timberlake.
Yes, Bad Teacher. Yeah, My Best Friend's Wedding. There's Something About Mary. I love There's Something About Mary. It's a funny movie, man. Vanilla Sky, Gangs of New York, and so on. And it also has Kate Winslet. She was in Titanic. She was in Finding Neverland with Johnny Depp. Little Children, Revolutionary Road with Leonardo DiCaprio. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, which is considered to be one of the best films ever made. I haven't watched it yet.
It's a decision at that point. It is a masterpiece.
It is a decision. Who directed that movie, by the way?
One of the greatest writers of all time. Actually, no. He was the writer, not the director. His name...
Michael Gondry.
Yes. He's a great director.
Charlie Kaufman. Isn't Charlie Kaufman one of the guys that wrote Friends?
What?
Charlie Kaufman, isn't he one of the people that wrote Friends?
Friends? No. Being
that's
John
not-
Malkovich.
Being John Malkovich.
Adaptation.
Yes.
Guy writing a story about a story of a that one's a master, brilliant. And also Synecdoche, New York, which is a movie that you'd have to spend a year trying to explain it to people. It's like that. That was his first ever movie directed. I'm a big fan of Charlie Kaufman, but yeah, that's a movie. Those are movies you have to like explain because it's like,
Is it that complicated?
Well, Synecdoche is definitely, but it's about death. It's about death, but the intricacy and the artwork within it is so cool. Like for example, there's this one scene where they're like walking in the kitchen, right, and they're just having like breakfast and talking to each other. But if you pay attention to the scene itself, like you see the date of the time moving, you see the date of the milk changing, you see all the little things, because what's actually happening is that there's time is flowing, and it's trying to show, instead of a montage of music playing with them going over the same things, kind of like, you know, the movie Nobody, where like he keeps doing the thing where where like he gets up, then he does the thing, and he wakes up, gets the thing, gets up, does the thing. You know, like, have you seen the movie Nobody?
I haven't.
Damn it. Okay. Have you seen Game of Thrones, right? You've seen this. Sam is cleaning the toilets.
Yes.
And it keeps cutting like that flow. Now imagine that, but one flowing scene where the things in the inside are the ones that are changing around you.
No, I get it. Like the music videos do that a lot.
Yeah.
Even in Garden State, something like that happens. But usually, you know, sometimes what they do is they would show maybe people moving, but then motion blur type of movement, just to give you an impression of time. Yeah.
Exactly. But imagine something so subtle that you don't even see that. You have to pay it. You have to watch twice to see it. You know what I mean? To understand.
That is crazy.
And I mean, don't also forget, let's not undersell Gondry for Eternal Spotlight. I mean, his forced perspective shots, he was doing that before Lord of the Rings, I believe. The whole, so I think, Eternal Sunshine came before Lord of the Rings, I believe.
Eternal Sunshine came out in 2004, I think.
Okay, 2004, and then Lord of the Rings came out when?
I think 2002. If I'm not mistaken.
Oh, you're right. Two Towers, 2001. So, okay, no, he did it afterwards. But that's a big ass movie. A little romantic drama of him using things to make Jim Carrey look small. It's not the thing you'd expect to see. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's activity. Like, dog, I could talk about those guys for hours. It's not even.
You're talking about the technique they use to make people look smaller than they actually are, instead of using CGI.
Really cool.
Damn, he did it first?
No, he did it, like you said, it was 2004 versus 2002. So he did it second. But the fact that he did it for a rom-com is kind of crazy. But
that's true.
Still a very unique way of doing it. Like, oh God, you need to watch this movie because it's you'll see, because the romance, the way it's done, is so well done. Like, you almost forget that it's a romantic story. No, you don't. You never forget that it's a romantic story because it's all about love, while at the same time doing all these cool shots. Because sometimes a story will tell itself in such a way where you're like, this is still a romance story, right? You know what I mean?
Right.
The way it's interwoven is beautiful. A good example being Interstellar. Like Interstellar, right?
Right.
It's adventure, serious suspense. Then Anne Hathaway, remember the incident? Anne Hathaway starts talking about love. Love is the most important thing. Then we forget about that, and we go back to action. Then it goes back to Anne Hathaway. You're like, okay, first of all, your daughter was a bigger deal than Anne Hathaway. Why running back to her instead of just your daughter? Do you know what I mean? So, but that thing, it's a running theme. You'll have to see it. You have to. I insist.
Well, I'll make time.
You'll make me add.
I'll make time over the weekend to watch it because I'm actually watching a lot of films. I wish you and I actually had enough time to actually record every day, because the number of movies that I'm watching and the lists that I'm making, I'm like, when are we gonna record this?
I can't do that. It takes so long. It takes so long.
I know, because I'm also recording other shows. But anyway, I digress. We also have Jude Law. Jude Law, man, this man is one of my favorite actors of all time. He
Tell
was
me.
in Artificial Intelligence, Cold Mountain. He was Dr. Watson in Sherlock Holmes and Sherlock Holmes: A Game of Shadows. He was Albus Dumbledore in Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald and Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore. He was in Alfie, The New Pope, The Young Pope, The Talented Mr. Ripley.
Yes.
Yeah, that should be enough. He was also in Captain Marvel as the villain.
What a waste of an actor. Don't even.
What a waste of an actor. I don't blame him.
I know it's not his fault. A paycheck is a paycheck. I mean,
exactly.
same thing with Christian Bale. Like, you
Yeah.
can put him in a what's that guy's name? A TT movie. Like, oh, yeah.
Yeah. Look, and he did the best that he could. It's just
I
that,
know.
yeah.
Just out here breaking his back, just carrying that.
Anyway, then you have Jack Black. Most people probably know him as the voice actor for Kung Fu Panda or for Po in Kung Fu Panda or School of Rock. I think that's probably one of his biggest movies ever. Funny enough, School of Rock was directed by Richard Linklater, who's a director that we haven't touched yet, but he's one of my favorite directors of all time.
That's the Lemis guy. Is that
Les No. Richard
the
Linklater did like stuff like Dazed and Confused and Waking Life and Scanner Darkly and what's that movie, man? About is it Boyhood?
Oh, that guy. Oh, the artsy guy. Yes. Okay, now I'm getting it. Now I'm getting it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oi.
Love that guy, man. I love all his movies, funny enough. Anyway, yeah, so he was in High Fidelity. This has actually been turned into a series, actually. High Fidelity. There's a series, yeah. He was in Shallow Hall, School of Rock, King Kong, Nacho Libre. I don't know if Nacho Libre would be made today, though, eh?
No, of course not.
Yeah.
No, of course not. That's why all this stuff must be in a museum at some point. That's the greatest of history.
Yeah. Tropic Thunder, Bernie, Goosebumps, Jumanji.
Yeah. Tropic Thunder is bigger than School of Rock. I feel like it is. But at the same time, they're both big movies. Don't misunderstand. But
I think I would say the thing is, the reason I'm not including I'm not considering Tropic Thunder to be his biggest is because he's not alone in it.
okay. So you're talking about him being a soloist. Okay, no, fair enough.
Yeah, like a lead without a lot of other big names in it, if that makes sense.
All right.
I know John Cusack is in it as well, but yeah, I think people know what I mean.
Yeah.
Then you have Edward Burns. Like this guy, man. He has this raspy voice. Hey, I don't know what's happening with you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's just strange for the whole movie. Like, for the little bit that he's in.
Yeah. He was in Saving Private Ryan. Alex Cross. Mob City, which is a drama series. She's the One. Friends with Kids. Man on a Ledge. Ish, this is a good movie. We need to review Man on a Ledge. It's one of those movies that I guess seem like a low budget film, but it's not a low budget film, but it's good at the same time. I don't know if I'm making sense.
Making sense. I'm listening.
Yeah. And I'm sure you know this movie, bro. You definitely know it. But anyway, there's this movie, man, with him and Robert De Niro in it. I forgot what it's called. Where I think he's a firefighter, and Robert De Niro is a cop. Do you know the movie I'm talking about?
Nah, dude.
Oh, okay.
You see at some point. Maybe that's why I missed.
Yeah, no, we'll definitely do a film review on it. And then you have Rufus Sewell. This guy for me, looks like Jude Law. I don't know why they've never made a movie about both of them as brothers.
Yeah.
You know the guy I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, Rufus. Yeah, I would actually say to me he reminds me of Mads Nicholson. I want them to be brothers because they both have like these cool, sharp features.
Oh yeah.
Sharp, good-looking guys that have. They're a weird kind of good-looking, if that makes sense. I don't know. It's gonna sound. I feel like Tapelo should be here. But yeah, like I don't know how to explain it to you. Like a ruggedness to them, like that.
No, I get you. If like certain anime characters that are mysterious.
Like Henry Cavill is like chiseled. Do you know what I mean? Like all
Yes.
different type characters. You know what I mean?
Right.
Jude's always got like, I wouldn't say baby face. Thanks to people like Charlemagne. I feel like baby face is taken away from people like Jude Law.
Yeah.
Now it's like the in between now. So you get like the Jude Law lookalikes. You get the thing which you get like Nicholson and this guy. They're like they got their own kind of like. I almost find.
Like
more stuff. Yeah.
He would play Zorro, if that makes sense.
Not only would he play a Zorro, he'd play a dark, brooding, intense Zorro, if that makes sense. Okay. Like, think of him as a dark, brooding, introspective Zorro, just by looking at him.
Yes. Or a James Bond or something like that. He has that. No, I get what you mean. I still think that he could play Jude Law's brother, but at the same time,
see them next to each other. I can kind of see what you're going for there. I can see what you're doing.
I also see what you're saying about them. If he was a Mickelson, yeah.
Yeah, because they both.
I remember he was in. Is it Black Knight with Martin Lawrence?
Yes. First of all, I'm alarmed that you remember that movie. Yes, you're right. He is in Black Knight with Martin Lawrence. Like that is a good memory, dude. Did you watch it recently or something?
Not even, dog. The thing is, I like this guy. I really like him.
See, that's where I remember him from. A Knight's Tale.
Funny enough, he was in The Legend of Zorro.
He was in Zorro, yes.
But the Legend, and for me, The Legend was not as good as The Mask.
Yeah. But, yeah. He was the bad guy, though.
I do remember him in The Tourist. Because you haven't watched The Tourist?
I was like, the jokes are enough for me to not watch it.
Okay, no, I get it. And he was in The Diplomat.
He was in Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. That's probably why I recognize him as well. Oh my God,
who was he there though? Because I don't remember. I remember the movie, but I don't remember.
Is he the main bad guy? I don't think he was the main bad guy.
I don't know. Huh. I guess we'd have to rewatch that one then.
Anthony Mackie. I even forgot about that. I think he's one of the early vampires. I don't think he's the final. Oh no. I'm looking at some pictures right now. He's definitely near one of the final battles.
Oh.
He might be the main villain. If not him, then it's the other guy that always plays the bad guy.
The 5,000-year-old leader of an order of vampires.
Yeah, he's one of the main characters. Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
Him and Martin Skoskas. Bad guy face. That guy's always a bad guy. I don't know if you know Martin Skoskas. Am I saying it?
Yeah, I know him very well. Yeah.
He was the husband. He wasn't Galadriel's husband. Yo, I just got my mind blown.
He was whose husband?
Galadriel's husband in Lord of the Rings, the OG Lord of the Rings. That's him, the blonde guy next to Galadriel.
Who's Galadriel, bro?
Galadriel, the white elf, the one that's there will be a dark queen.
Yes.
Next to her, remember there's three great elves, the three wielders. Elrond, Galadriel, and then there's a third guy. He's the third guy. I didn't even recognize him. I just saw it now on his IMDb. Dog, it's so funny. It's like, you know Jurassic Park, right? I've watched that movie like 5 times, the third one.
The Jurassic Park, the original?
Lost World.
Oh, Lost World.
Yeah.
No, I haven't watched that one.
I had to watch it again like a few years back, and I was like, is that Vince Vaughn? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, man. I think the thing about these guys is the more you delve deeper into, their filmographies and stuff, you see them in movies that you've seen before, but now that you notice them, you're like, oh, you were always here?
Guys,
How? When?
you know Death Wish? The Bronson movies, those like old school ones with the highly graphic, well, not violence, but anyway. In one of them, right? If you look carefully, you see Denzel Washington doing his first ever scene, and involves him getting shot. And you're like, and then in another one, there's Lawrence Fishburne, and it's like, and there's Jeff Goldblum playing R-worders.
Yeah, I guess we gotta start somewhere though, right?
Oh no, definitely. But it's so funny recognizing them later on, you know what I mean?
I felt the same way when I saw Goodfellas for the first time and I saw Samuel L. I'm like, what the hell?
Right! This dies like 5 minutes.
Yeah, and it doesn't even speak. It doesn't say a word.
Dog.
Oh man.
But he's in one of the greatest movies of all time, just in the background. He's just in one of the greatest movies. Just there. In one of the greatest movies of all time.
Anyway,
yeah, let's not get distracted.
And then you have Eli Wallach or Walla, I don't know. He was in The Good and the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly with
Is he Tuco?
Pardon?
He's Tuco! He's Tuco! He's the ugly! He's the ugly in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Yes, sir.
Shoot, don't shoot. No talk. They're my favorite lines. Oh, shit. I did not know that. I won't lie to you. Oh, my God. Have you seen The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, by the way? Oh, you froze.
It's a movie.
Wait, did you just say the most
Sorry,
shocking
you just froze.
in my life? Did you say no?
Pardon?
Did you just say no?
Yeah, I said no, bro.
Jesus. We know what, we've had this discussion more than once before, where it's like you'll be like, it'll be like some 2015 movie starring like 4 people, and you'll be like, yeah, no, I saw that one twice, and then like the greatest movie of all time. No, I haven't seen that one. I said, this is your thing, dog.
Here's the thing about me, ne? I know a lot of movies. I've watched a lot of movies, but I've noticed that the difference between me and you is the movies that I haven't watched. Some movies that I haven't watched, you watched, and then some of the movies that I watched, you haven't watched. So I guess it balances out.
And our actors,
but
our knowledge of actors is very different. Like you will know, like the guy, like you'll know the guy that plays Get Out, the black guy. I keep forgetting his name. Like
Daniel
all of his movies.
Right.
The guy that plays Al, sorry. But then I will like only know Get Out or like Death Note.
Right.
But you know all his other movies, like that Destiny did. And
but
like,
by the way, it's not the same person, hey? The guy who plays L is not the guy who plays Get Out. Oh, but you're right. Get Out. In Get Out, he was not speaking, right? It's the guy he didn't have
the Flash.
Oh yeah. Not the main character, just the guy with the hat.
Exactly.
You're right.
I'm not racist.
My apologies. Yeah, so that is the cast, guys. Okay, Eli, as I've mentioned before, The Good, Bad, and the Ugly, he was in The Associate. I've seen him in a movie called Too Big to Fail, or Too Big Fail, which is a movie that I would like us to touch on. Okay. It's about the financial crisis in America.
Yeah.
Just give me a second. But they don't show him here for some reason.
He's on the list. Maybe he's uncredited.
Maybe, because I don't even think he says anything in that movie. Yeah.
Well, I always love those kinds of movies. I'm curious to see what they left in and left out. Like, for example, Big Short is this movie I loved until you actually do some more research. You know, there's more to it than that. And it's like, it's so interesting. I love those kinds of movies.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, guys, that is the cast of The Holiday. So yeah, man, I don't know if there's anything that you want to say.
Yeah, I'm ready to start.
All right, let's get into it.
Cool. Dum, dum, dum. We need some get to start music. Even though I think, you know what our first t-shirt should be before I start? I said it should be like the halfway point. You know, halfway high, halfway low. You know what I mean? Actually, our first ever t-shirt if you ever get one. Anyway, the opening starts with a kiss by the river. Passionate, emotional music playing in the background, pronounced as the camera pulls back to reveal a screen. The kiss is being watched. There's a runtime and a musical sheet before the camera pulls back to reveal Jack Black, played by Miles, playing on the piano and taking notes for his work. This is obviously a man doing his job in the film industry. I thought that was a really nice shot. That whole
Dude, talk about subverting expectation. I didn't expect that at all. I was like, okay, this seems like a nice scene. What's happening here? Then I was like, oh, okay. And I think it was probably the first time I started understanding what scoring is from this film, because initially I had no idea that actually people do stuff like that. Until I watched this movie, I was like, oh, this is what people do. They watch the footage, then they play certain chords or certain melodies to accommodate specific scenes.
But it's a combination of things because you have to be very. It's fascinating. It's fascinating. It's a fantastic video. I think I told you about Every Frame of Painting, but there's more videos like that one as well. This other guy, I forgot his name is now, but the way they talk about how the mistakes you make with scoring and the misunderstanding is like, first of all, number one, they have to know about the movie long before the movie even starts shooting. Sometimes, like for example, Christopher Nolan will be like, "Yo, man, this is like." I remember those things where Hans Zimmer was talking to Christopher Nolan. It was like, yo, man, I need a sound for this. This is the movie, etc., for Dark Knight. And that's how he formed the Dark Knight being while the movie was being shot. And then he added on later, and then they gave him time. You know what I mean? So stuff like that is fascinating.
Oh, kind of like with, you remember with John Williams and Spielberg, that conversation, how John Williams came up with da 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 da. Da, 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 da. And then so he came up with that piece, and I think he came up with another piece, and then Spielberg was like, why don't you just use both? Then that's how they came up with the theme for Raiders of the Lost Ark. So you're absolutely right. It's amazing how you can get briefed on something like that before you even start shooting. I'm assuming that they actually get the script to read the script, and then
I would assume so too. So they can understand the beats and everything that's going on. So you can gives them a vibe.
yeah.
Like I love it when they work together. Like I think one of the problems with Hollywood is that everything is so what's the word? Mechanic, let's say that. Everything's so mechanic sometimes, and what happens is the reason sometimes the score will be bad is because they're like, yo man, you've got here's the film footage, you've got 3 weeks. It's already edited, by the way. Like the music you made while you're editing, so that way I know when to cut the music and when I can design the music. A good example is Lion King. Lion King was clearly made at the same time as the editing was being done.
Right.
Because like there's a scene when you know the stampede scene, right? There's a scene where like Zazu like sees Simba, and then like freaks out, and then the music goes, but it's in tune. It goes perfectly with the flow, with the music and the thing.
Right.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? So that kind of thing. Sometimes the studio, like Jackie Chan will say, they just don't have time. You know what I mean? Gotta get it done now. So I think that's the problem with some soundtracks that makes it so lame, is that you got 3 weeks, and hey man, you could be the best artist in the world, but if you got 3 weeks to make something high quality,
it's not enough time.
Yeah, and you weren't involved in the editing process, which is what makes Scott Pilgrim,
Edgar Wright,
one of the best directors in the world. Man,
Baby Driver.
Yeah, Baby Driver, of course, but technically it's not just Baby Driver. It's also End of the World's End. There's a scene there where like he mixes music diegetic. Scott Pilgrim as well. When he's that man is as far as I can tell, he's the king of diegetic music. As far as I can tell, when it comes to mixing music that is actually in the thing with what they're playing.
He's definitely one of the best in that field. Definitely.
Absolutely, man understands pieces come together nicely. Cool.
Who did August Rush?
crap. I don't know. It's not a movie I know much about, unfortunately.
Because that one also, whoever directed that, I mean, it's not as good as Baby Driver in that sense, but it's a good movie. Let me just check quickly. Kristen Sheridan. It's a lady.
Oh.
An Irish lady.
Oh, look at us. We're learning more people every day.
Hey, dude.
Hopefully our fans will be like, can you name 5 female directors that will do it like this?
That's if we do have fans. I don't know. But yeah, I do hear what you're saying.
Don't worry. Anyway, yeah, I was just saying, yeah, man, basically, director visually shows this man doing his job, what it is and how it works. You know what I mean? And it sets up that this is all set up in the within the film industry.
By the way, the lady that he was with, that lady, I just don't know her name, but she was in A Knight's Tale. She was the leading lady in A Knight's Tale.
Which is ironic because so was Thingamajig. He was also what's his face? Rufus Sewell, also Knight's Tale. So.
And she was also in 40 Days and 40 Nights with what's this guy that I like so much? He was in like Lucky Number 11, the main character in Lucky Number. He's also in Oppenheimer.
Yeah, I always forget his name because it's like I always think of, whenever I think of him, I think of like either Heath Ledger or Ashton Kutcher. Yeah, I think him and Ashton Kutcher, they probably hate each other because I feel like they must get compared to each other a lot.
A lot, bruh. Yeah. Josh Hartnett, I think, because I know he was.
Yes, that's his name.
He was considered, well, he was he was on the list of potential Superman actors back in the early 2000s when they wanted to make Superman fly by with either Brian, I think it was it? No, it was not Bryan Singer. I think it was, who's the guy that likes using lens flares again?
Zack Snyder.
No.
J.J. Abrams.
J.J. Abrams, I think. If not J.J. Abrams, then it's probably Bryan Singer. They wanted to do Superman Flyby a long time ago. Either Superman Flyby or no. Superman and Batman film, actually, where Christian Bale was going to play Batman and Josh Hartnett was going to play Superman. But yeah, it's one of those things that didn't come to fruition.
Perfect, man. Just give us a piece. Just give it to us.
But anyway, the lady's name is Shannon Sossamon.
Who did you see? No, I'm joking. Yeah, sure. I saw someone too. Yes, Shannon saw someone.
Yeah.
But yeah. She's cool. But obviously, she's barely in this movie.
Yeah, no, she's barely in this movie. I think that's why she's not even part of the main credits.
Yeah, I don't think she talks. I don't think you don't actually hear her talk, right?
She does, but it's so forgettable. It's as if she doesn't even say anything. It's kind of like Kevin in American Pie 3. How can one of the main characters
to be fair,
even say a word?
Well, to be fair, I think what's so nice about this movie is the visual directing, right? And I think what they did was they realized we're gonna get everything we need from her by not having her talk, because even with the scene like I'm about to get into now, with this scene, right, you can see she's talking on the phone, right? Girlfriend or wife having a phone call, laughing while he's there. He stares lovingly, right? He's 100% in love. But she's like looking away all the time. Do you know what I mean? Like she's like laughing at the time. She's not paying attention. Do you know what I mean? So
wait a minute. You know what? Now that I think about it, I think this was deliberate. The fact that she's not even saying much throughout the film is deliberate because we're seeing things from his perspective, not from hers. Meaning, the man who's all about sound and music can barely even hear the love of his life.
Because it's too much good,
because she's not saying anything.
And
she doesn't mean as much as the sound that he probably plays or hears on a daily basis.
Yeah, and also it reflects that she's zoned out. She's on a phone call. She probably can't even hear the music he's playing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. She doesn't even seem interested, though.
At all. And you can already tell that, you know, and then the dialogue makes it even worse because the dialogue, there's a voiceover that starts well, but like it starts with a nice meaning, a nice message, and then gets more and more cynical. It paints an odd picture when you combine it with the whimsical music. It's very, you know what I mean?
Right.
Anyway, from there we cut to where we see a somewhat bemused Cameron Diaz who's playing Amanda. There has thingamajiggy, they're looking at each other, but you can tell something's not good there.
Mm.
In the third scene, we see an old man staring at a photo. Then we cut to Jude Law, who's looking at a pretty girl. And they're like smiling at each other. You can kind of see that you kind of get the impression that Jude Law is a bit of a player there.
Yeah.
You can just by looking at her, she's like.
No, Jude Law was in his prime here, bro. Like he was chumming everybody's pants off, dog.
Dog.
And he knew it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it didn't make him a hero. Like they give him a cape. I guess it was too early in those days. Anyway, we see Kate Winslet playing Iris preparing a gift. Her voiceover hitting its mark as she confesses her love of a man. Rufus Sewell playing Jasper. The dialogue reveals that Iris is 100% caught up in simp mode at its highest.
Yeah.
Jasper has cheated on her and has used her while she just looks pathetic. We also find that she's a writer or a journalist.
Yes.
Jasper appears as she's finished her work and compliments her, and they talk. Things take a turn as she shows her a gift, and he got her the idea of a gift. Hers is a grand gift from him, and to her, it's a compliment. That's all she gets.
You know, I feel like Jasper, and you even see it in the acting, that this guy knows how much Iris loves him. He knows how much she loves him, and he's taking advantage of that.
Yeah.
Every single time, bro.
But he plays it smooth. Yeah.
Yeah, deliberately so.
He's not a mustache twirling villain, you know what I mean? Like,
no. It's kind of like Hugh Grant in Bridget Jones. He knew Bridget Jones liked him.
Yeah.
He knew it. So he used that to his advantage. So you see that even here. Like he doesn't even have to try hard to get her.
Yeah. Oh, he's got her locked in.
Exactly.
When where the co-worker is like, what is wrong with you? Yep. And then to make it worse, after all of that, right? After he like compliments her dress like that, like low-key hitting on her, there's a Christmas announcement and Iris is given a mission to record a wedding, and it's between some girl and Jasper, and she's devastated.
Dude.
Like, within the first 5 minutes, she's hit with a brick, dog.
After that little flirting that they just did, the same guy who was just flirting with you now is actually getting married, and you have to cover the story?
Dog, what is going on? And why did you even mention her? Like,
also, why is the boss doing this? Doesn't he know that they used to date? I'm sure he knows.
Just like, what is wrong with you? Like, her life, yeah, not fair.
It sucks, dude.
And you know, it's so nice when you see like that. Normally, like it'll be a guy where that kind of thing happens to. So it's kind of interesting seeing it when it happens to a lady like that.
Yeah.
So
and a beautiful lady on top of that. Like Kate Winslet is not an ugly woman at all.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. And I like the fact that it feels like they made Kate Winslet and what's his face older on Jasper, Iris and Jasper older on purpose. So there's kind of like a gap between the one couple and the other couple. It kind of feels like there's a gap, and it kind of feels like Jack Black is kind of a younger guy. If that makes any sense, if you understand what I'm saying. It feels like Jack Black, like you never hear their ages, but I won't be surprised if it turns out that Jack Black is actually younger than all of them in the. Oh, you're frozen.
Sorry, you broke for a second. I don't know what happened.
Okay, I was saying I wouldn't be surprised if it found out that Jack Black and Kate Winslet and thingamajiggy, there was like an age gap there. So maybe like the couple now, they seem a little bit older than everyone else. So
right.
So I wouldn't be surprised maybe like the whole Jack Black thing's like a younger guy thing angle that they kind of low key don't really mention. Like that would be interesting to find out, but I kind of like that whole visual angle to it.
I didn't even think of it like that.
because like they're all like, you can kind of tell that they're like a little bit older, but like Jack Black feels younger in this one. He's more energetic in a way. Do you know what I mean? We'll have to, I feel like there's an angle there, but anyway.
Interesting.
Yeah. We get kind of a Bridget Jones style wallowing in her, Kate wallowing in her misery, writing a wonderful. This is part of our setup. I would argue this is the catalyst to most of the stuff. Heartbroken with the sad music, she goes home and wails out loud until we fade to black. 11 minutes in, we open on a lawn being mowed as Edward Burns, playing Ethan, wakes up to call Amanda. He's checked his watch, Upon finding her, he gets a shoe thrown at him and is defending himself as he's accused of cheating. We get exposition on their relationship as Ethan is kicked out.
I didn't sleep with her. Come on. This guy's so
like,
cool.
It's already over. Just tell the truth. And then he tells the truth. And you kind of get a weird moment where he's like, you know what? This is who you are. And it's like, Jesus.
I think you can tell that they've been dating for a very long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the way he talks about her.
Yeah.
You can tell he didn't say anything. He was not lying about anything that he said.
Oh, definitely. You find out but also you're gonna get to see it as well. But yeah, she lays out everything about her. Like, she's high strung, she's super busy, likely a workaholic. In fact, after breaking up with her boyfriend after being betrayed, she goes right back to work.
Dude. But also this guy he's ill, bruh. He's a gaslighter of note in a sense, because instead of actually focusing more on the topic at hand, is on some, you're not even crying that you're breaking up with.
He blames her.
Yeah, he blames her for cheating. Like, dude, what?
It makes no sense. But anyway, yeah. She decides, she's not willing to work anymore. Because she can't even cry, like you said. Becomes a plot point. So the setup there. So she decides she's gonna go on a holiday. Here we go. Anyway, the breakup is the second catalyst. As she decides to make a big move and go on vacation. She's so high strung, she literally can't make herself cry. Setting up her holiday, we see the advert of Iris's house, leading to a mixed, rather broken match cut to Iris's house. We describe what a match cut is when two images look the same and it fades into the same image, basically.
By the way, before you continue, there's a scene. I think she's having like panic attacks or something, or mini panic attacks. I have no idea what that is.
It's like grabbing her chest, basically. I think it's high stress. It's anxiety, like heartburn, basically.
Yes. Anxiety, right? Yeah. And I think Edward Burns gave her the impression that he cares about her. Yeah. And then she's like, no, I'm okay. It's like, no, I was thinking about me. I'm like, oh my goodness. Dude.
They set up, they make all these characters so obvious. Like, okay, this is who Edward Burns is. Like, hot damn.
They were just not good for each other.
Yeah. Yeah, and then 21 minutes in, we cut to an Iris who's still crying, who's the opposite of Amanda. Still crying after all this time. She even tries to huff gas. But she's saved by a notification from Amanda, and they decide to swap houses the very next day. They're both in the right moment for this. And you decide, we're just going to do it.
But it makes me wonder why she put that ad in the first place. Because I doubt she put that ad the same night when she realized that Jasper's getting married.
I guess it was, I think they explained it. I think they say something like, it was an idea or something like that, just a random idea that she'd done and forgotten about it, I think.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, we're on a plane. Jasper messages her, looking to stay in contact. And she makes a massive move, telling him not to contact her. Like, that was a big move by her. You can see she takes her time. You can see the reaction to it, and she finally sends a message, and it's like a big moment. I love that.
I think she said, I think we both know that I need to stop loving you.
I have to run out of love of you, basically.
Yeah, and you have to give me that.
Give me the time to let me stop loving you. Fall out of love of you.
Yes. Yes.
Then we get Amanda, who's in first class and just by far another level.
Dude,
Like
you
she's
can tell.
squeezing in between two old ladies, basically, or two old ladies squeezing around her, and she's got her own thing, her own blanket.
Dude,
Dog.
like Amanda, it's Amanda. Her name is Amanda, no?
Amanda, yes.
Amanda is a baller of note, dog.
Dog.
Like she's making guap for
Dog.
days.
The next level, making trailers, and then it's so funny because I always think of honest trailers, because then she starts to hallucinate her job, basically.
Yes.
Trailer of her life, and like the deep voice guy, honest trailers. So starts making his own thing.
Right. I think if there's something that we need to mention, maybe quickly, John Krasinski is in this film, but he's an extra because of the scene where he says that he needs to take a break and is telling them that they should also take a break, and they're like, "Dude, you never want us to take, like, this is the busiest time of the year." It's him and Catherine. I think, is it Catherine Hahn?
I think you're right, but yes, like out of the blue, John Krasinski just shows up. It's like, hey, Reacher, what you doing here, buddy? Not Reacher, what's his name again?
Mr. Fantastic.
Well, yes, Mr. Fantastic, but the other
the guy from The Office.
Yeah, the guy from The Office. God damn it, the CIA TV show was fantastic.
Ryan.
Jack Ryan, there we go.
Yeah.
Jack R. There we go. Jack Reacher, Jack Ryan.
Yeah, that's how I quickly knew what you were talking about, because I have the same issue. Like, who's who here? But also, he was also, funny enough, fun fact, John Krasinski was also in It's Complicated, which came out a few years later.
Oh, bigger role? Or smaller one?
Way bigger role.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah.
You know what's funny about Jack Krasinski? Isn't he a versatile actor? Like, when you remember 13 Days in, was it called 13 Hours? I think it's called 13 Hours. Mm-hmm. The Benghazi movie, where he plays the soldier in the Michael Bay's Benghazi movie. Have you seen it?
Mm-mm.
Oh, man plays a soldier, like a soldier, like a Marine, basically.
Mm.
And there's this thing that he does that makes him believable. I just don't know I can't just articulate it, but when you consider the guy from The Office,
he's really good.
Jack Reacher,
yeah.
Jack Ryan, and you consider 13 Hours, and you consider A Quiet Place.
Yes.
The man's range.
And it's complicated. Yeah, like he has range for days. I would put him on the same level as Matt Damon, in a sense that they can be funny, serious, extremely dramatic.
Yes.
They know how to balance all these emotions or these genres, to blend in these genres very well. They don't feel out of place. I don't think I've ever felt like John Krasinski is out of place.
Yes.
In any project.
And I think now obviously I can't read these people's minds, but if I were to guess, I feel like there's an element of knowing yourself, if that makes sense. Because if you think about John Krasinski, right? Because I was gonna say, I don't want to put him on the same level as people like Gary Oldman and like Jake Gyllenhaal, because again, they're also super versatile. They can be in anything, right?
Jake Gyllenhaal, you said.
Jake Gyllenhaal. Remember, we discussed this about him being the best part of every movie.
Yes.
Like Gary Oldman being like the best part of every movie, whether it's Fifth Element or Darkest Hour or The Professional. He can do all these different things.
Yeah. With Jake Gyllenhaal, you're absolutely right. I just don't know who was better than who in Brothers, which we're still gonna do, but that's a story for another day. Yeah.
It's definitely, but the energy. I mean, think about it. When can you think of a time that Krasinski was hyper? Not even in A Quiet Place. He's never hyper.
He's not hyper.
But yet,
I mean, he has moments where he has to really act out in a certain way, like react to something.
Yes.
But he's never hyper.
He's never. What's it Gary Oldman in The Professional? The everyone meme.
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah.
Bring everyone. That's never him.
Yeah.
But he can still do every type of role.
Yes.
Which makes you wonder. I feel like I don't want to say know your lane. That's not the right expression. But I feel like if you
know the character.
Well, yes.
Know yourself and know the character.
Yeah, I feel like there's an element to that where you and because you can do that, you can adapt it. Because my sister's an actor, right? an award-winning actor actually. But she said something to me once that really dug deep with me, and she was like, every script is about 90 pages, right? So that's about 90 pages of a person's life. And what you have to do, it's about this big. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Your life is 10, 20, 30 years. So what you got to do is you got to mix yourself in there. And then
Yes.
the story fits you. I feel like there's an element of
I agree with her.
like I feel like maybe again I'm not reading minds. I don't know this guy, but I feel like that's what's happening. That's what makes him so successful, that he can do the arts 13 hours. Do you know what I mean? And every role makes sense.
I think just adding on to what your sister said, Viola Davis said, if you were to get everybody that has been in my life, including my husband, and you were to ask them to write a book about me, they'll probably write 40% about who I really am. No matter who has been in my life and for how long, they'll only be able to write about 40% of me.
Yeah.
You know. So what you're saying is really profound, because she's right. You can only show, and I think that's why Mike Coulter, who played Luke Cage in Luke Cage, I think he was being asked why he's a bit different from Jessica Jones, which came out earlier than Luke Cage.
Yes.
And he said, you are different to different people. You're not the same person to different people. And I guess that's why sometimes when you watch sequels and you feel like the same character you watched in the first movie is not the same in the sequel. It's not that it's not the same. It's just that you're seeing them in a different situation. And it makes them feel different.
I was gonna say, you could say it's an interpretation. Do you know what I mean?
Ah, right.
It's an interpretation. That's what I feel like it is. Like, for example, like I thought his name is it Orson Canal, the guy that plays Krennic in Secret Wars, in Most Marvel. When that plays Krennic, he's also got that kind of style of being like diverse as well.
Right.
Like he can play the poorest of poor person. He played a crackhead once in that Brad Pitt movie. I don't know if you remember it.
Which movie?
The Brad Pitt movie, the one where he's like an assassin or something, like who like has to kill these two guys that like robbed a mob joint.
Bullet Train.
No. Let me see if I can find it. I know you have to know what I'm talking about. Just give me a second.
Brad Pitt as an assassin.
He's a hitman. Let's put it like that.
Are you sure it's not Bullet Train?
No, I'm positive.
Okay.
He has a black muscle car. Thing is, again, I know you know what I'm. Unless you haven't seen the movie, but I doubt it. It was a really good one. Give me a second. It was before I did the space movie.
Is that the one with Richard Jenkins in it? He was in it. I think I know the movie you're talking about. Wasn't it one of the first movies that he released under Plan B?
What the hell are you talking about? What's Plan B?
You know, Plan B is like his production company or whatever.
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, he's also executive producer. No wonder. I hate when IMDb does this. I've got to find the ones where it says actor.
What's the name of the movie you're talking about?
Okay, you get Ad Astra. What is your time?
Ad Astra.
No. What damn? I'm sure it was him.
I think I know the movie you're talking about, though.
Oh, do you think it's not him? It's not Brad Pitt. Killing Them Softly. There we go.
Yes, that's the movie I'm talking about. When I'm saying that, I think it's one of the movies that he produced under Plan B. I could be wrong.
You could be right. I think you're right, because it's a smaller film. Ray Liotta was still alive, but yeah. But my point. Gosh.
Wait, whoa! Ray Liotta's no longer alive?
Yes, that stupid cocaine bear movie was his last movie. Then he
Ray
died.
Liotta's not alive?
Yes, Ray Liotta died last year.
Ray Liotta's dead?
Yes. Dead, dude.
What the hell, dude? Oh, I'm sorry, I had no idea. When did he?
Yeah, 2022. So it's been 2 years already.
What the hell?
Yeah. You really didn't know? Sorry, man. May 26, 2022.
I'm sorry, guys. I had no idea. Like,
yeah.
What a shame.
Yeah, what a shame. I hate the fact that that was like his last movie, but man had a beautiful life. So, I mean, man did amazing movies. But yeah.
Wow. Okay. Anyway,
let's end this because I feel like I lost my point. But yeah, I feel like
we're talking about an actor. What's his name?
Gosh, I already forgot it. What's his name? Callas. But anyway, yeah, we're talking about.
Yeah, but the guy was. That's what. Yeah, you're right. That's what I was saying. Richard Jenkins was in this movie, and he was in it. Yeah. But anyway.
Orson Cullen. Point is, man has the same kind of depth, but a silent intensity that where he can play a crackhead and he can play the leader of the Star Wars Rogue One. Do you know what I mean? He's the where it's like I don't know what parts of his life he's putting in, but the fact that he doesn't become a different person, but you believe every version of him that he's playing. If that makes sense to you.
Yeah.
So at the core, it's still him. But every version of the different people he plays is still him as well. Where you get some people that can change completely. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, let's move on. I feel like we've gone too far off the point of the reservation.
more than the usual.
It was still beautiful though. I love that kind of thing. Anyway, 26 minutes in, because I think the story is moving a bit faster, which is funny because this story has a lot of beats that I want to talk about. We're in LA. It's magical with Iris. We get the reverse view of Amanda, who's facing a lot of snow. A taxi cab for Iris and a limo service for Amanda. It's such a reversal for Amanda, who has to talk her way to Iris's house, who has to walk her way to Iris's house in high heels while pushing an entire wheel bag, a triple wheel bag. I thought that was really funny.
She's never traveled that side of the world in her life.
Exactly.
She was not prepared.
Yeah. She's like, I can't believe how small this is, and then Iris is like, I can't believe how big this is.
Yes.
She has to walk. Iris gets a limo, gets a taxi straight to the house. It's fantastic. Amanda quickly gets going and has gotten herself a Mini Cooper. She buys a ton of snacks, relaxes, only to have her trailer play in her head. All appears to be well, and she's living her best life, doing exactly what she was hoping to do, which turns out to be wrong. Playing loud music next out.
How she needed to get used to driving on the opposite side of the road.
Yes, that was funny.
I never knew it was the thing until I saw this movie actually a long time ago. I was like, oh, I didn't know. But the British are kind of like us basically because we drive on the left.
Exactly. I've seen an American car. Yeah, even the steering wheel's on that side, and you're like, damn, this must be awkward.
Yeah.
But she's doing all that stuff, and it turns out it's only been like 5 hours. You know what I mean?
Like, she's bored out of her mind.
Yes.
Because she's not used to, and I think that's the issue that a lot of workaholics have. You cannot relax.
Yeah, because you're supposed to be doing something.
Your body's already used to doing something. So when you actually have to relax and do nothing, it feels like torture. And I think that's what she was going through. So I don't necessarily think that the environment was the issue. The issue was that she was not used to not doing anything.
Yeah. And you have to force yourself. Like, I know that feeling. And it can be so easy to be distracted sometimes. So you have to force yourself to get up and just go somewhere else. So that way, even if I should be doing something, you can't because all the things you could be doing are not there.
But dude, trust me, it feels like a waste because I've been going through this for the past probably like 7-8 years. It really feels like a waste. Sometimes it feels like a horrible day.
Yeah.
But I think it needs more than a day. You need more than a day for you to actually. You need like at least 2.5 weeks to actually start feeling like I'm not
Yeah.
doing anything.
That's
And not
it.
feeling guilty for it.
Exactly. When you take leave, yeah, it's fantastic. A leave can never be less than 2 weeks. If it's less than 2 weeks, it's not leave.
It's
just
not leave.
take a day off.
It's just bunking work.
Yeah, exactly. What are you doing? Wasting time. You didn't sleep long enough where you forget who you are, where you are. It's like, have you ever, you know that meme, that joke that's always around where it's like, when you take a nap that's so good, you like, oh my God, I'm late for, you wake up, you're like, I'm late for school. Then you stop, you go, nigga, I'm 30 years old.
Yes. You have like lines on your face.
Yeah. That's the best kind of relaxation right there.
That's true. But you see, I think also what I'm realizing now is if you want to take a break, you also have to take a break from the other stuff that you're doing that is not work related.
Yeah.
Like with you and your books or your directing, you also need to take a break from that. But for people like us, it's like, no, at least now I'll have time to do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think that's the issue that we're facing as workaholics.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But in a way, until our stuff earns money, how can we not be alcoholics? Do you know what I mean? Like, if you're making money from your product, then cool. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
But if you're not making money from your product, then it's like, okay, but then it's like that whole meme about your parents thinking that you do nothing. You know what I mean?
The whole thing about your parents doing what?
When they think you're doing nothing. You know what I mean? Like in their minds, you're doing nothing.
Oh yeah.
It's out here living your best life. You know, you're out here sweating your hands, you're getting carpal tunnel syndrome, you're working, and it's like, okay, but is it making money? No. Okay, then you're living your best life. It's like, no.
Yeah. You just hope to prove them wrong one day. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just keep hustling, man. That's all we can do.
Anyway.
But yeah, anyway, back to the story. 35 minutes in, we get to see Iris, and we kind of get to see her get into a flow of living in the new world. But before we can really get going, she immediately gets interrupted as she gets to meet Miles. Miles was with his girl, who is still super busy with her phone. And there's a little moment where she doesn't even notice the music is playing. Do you know what I mean? Like, he complains about that.
Yeah. Because Iris doesn't know how to use anything, how to open the gate.
I think it's stuck with the gate, yes.
Yeah.
We get our classic meet cute as she has Miles pull out a piece of dirt from her eye. It's a very nice moment as she notices the music that he likes.
Yeah.
And there's kind of like a realization there as well, like, oh, someone actually understands me. I think that was pretty cool. 39 minutes in, we get Amanda trying to sleep at 1 a.m. as set up by Iris in the last scene. It's a very clever transition. Because what ends up happening is she closes the blinds, and then cuts to darkness on Iris' side, on Amanda's side, which is great. Anyway, we get to her, we see the transition, the door is being hammered, there's a frustrated man in the door. It's Jude Law playing Graham, Iris' brother. So we see the connection there.
Right.
They get their own little moments. Graham is drunk and Amanda is blown away by a hot guy showing up at his door. We get her some exposition. She's on her way home. It turns out she can't handle the boredom. She's tapping out on her whole idea on the share thing. But then they decide to share a bottle of whiskey. Graham accidentally kisses her and she asks for another. She gets caught out by it and doesn't know what she feels until they embrace. She starts to be high-strung and is almost trying to ruin the moment with how much he's talking. But she doesn't. And then before you know it, it's morning.
So he actually got laid.
Yeah.
First night, drunk as hell. He was expecting his sister.
Yeah. And then
this beautiful American lady. He's like, what the hell?
Mm-hmm.
My sister's gone where?
Yeah.
So initially when I saw this, I was like, why would you allow a stranger into? Because I mean, sure, we do know that it's Jude Law.
Yeah.
But initially when I saw this movie, I wasn't convinced that he's the brother. I thought he was just making stuff up. You know what I mean? Because the timing of this thing is going back to what your sister said. It's like we never saw Miles and Amanda together. but the way they're talking to the other two protagonists, it's no. I work for. I also do whatever, and I came. This one is like, oh no, I'm the brother. But you never saw the brother and the sister interacting before this moment. You know what I mean? So I'm like, are you really the brother? Because they don't even call each other until later on.
Yeah,
so,
much later on, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you really...
You found it sus. I like that. That's cool.
Yeah, I did initially when I saw it.
Yeah. For me, I like this scene because it keeps setting up that he's a player.
Yeah.
Like, the story keeps setting this up. Like, it keeps building towards it. To the point when Amanda gets the impression, we've got the impression too now.
100%.
Only for the subversion to happen later on. Yeah. It's an awkward moment. It's the morning, by the way. It's an awkward moment, and they're talking. They are struggling to split from each other as they keep saying goodbye, but it's not working as they keep laying down things honestly until Graham invites her on a date if she chooses to stay.
Yeah, because it's as if fate, it's as if the universe was just conspiring
to put them together, yeah.
Them together because, like, she can't use the toaster, you know what I mean?
A coffee machine, yes. Like, it's not even plugged in. She's like, why isn't it working? It's like, yeah, you might need the plug for that.
Exactly. And I guess you could say that someone is actually paying attention to her out of work, and someone who's not toxic.
Yeah.
Like the boyfriend that she had before.
Toxic waste.
Yes.
He's gone again. Oh, is he back? Is he back? Is he back? Is he back? Oh, you're back. Yeah, welcome back, buddy.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, so I was just saying that was just an interesting moment.
It is. It is. It's a. Do you know what? It's not as strange a moment as you'd think. That kind of thing should never happen, but it can actually happen. You'd be surprised. But yeah, it's a nice moment. I enjoy the whole thing. I think the whole thing is just fun because I think it makes sense in the aspect that she needs to do something crazy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, to sort of get over this rut that she's going through.
Yes.
The anxiety.
Yeah, and realistically, if you think about it, sometimes the most honest you can be is to a stranger. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think sometimes. I feel like all the time because, there's less judgment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
100%. You'll never see this person again, so why not just tell them the whole truth? You know,
exactly.
Never use it against you.
Yeah.
I don't know, stuff like that it's interesting. Let me put it like that. Anyway, 53 minutes in, we get a transition showing the transition of the windows opening as we trans back to Iris. The windows open, we're back to Iris. She's playing loud music herself and having a genuinely good time until she gets a call from Jasper. And Jasper wants to know about the pages, wants help with the pages of his book.
Right.
And it's like nothing she said mattered. She was clear, distinct, but he's acting like that SMS never came in because that's just who he is.
Yes.
Yeah. She gets a nice moment which explodes quickly. Jasper is still tiny Jasper, she is still tiny in his mind.
Right.
He doesn't care. Cool. Next thing you know, now we quickly cut to Amanda, who has chosen to stay after all that build-up. So Amanda goes on a drive and she sees Iris goes on a drive and sees an old man who's lost, and she gives him a lift home. We get a nice moment where the movie describes a meet cute, like the things we've seen where they have the eye contact. So
yes.
See that, yeah. So now the movie describes it itself. Do you know what I mean? That's a nice little meta moment. And describes a meet cute, and we've already seen 2 examples of those. She lets the old man into his home, and we see that he's an extremely well-established writer and an award winner. We also get more visual storytelling by a shitty TV dinner sitting on the thing.
Right.
Using that alone, she can kind of suss what's going on here, and she invites him out.
Yes, it shows you the reality of being old and alone.
Yeah.
It's like everybody forgets
Yeah.
about you. Nobody really cares that much.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Um,
And I guess it also says a lot about her.
yeah.
The fact that she took her time to take him to his house. I mean, which gave us the impression that he might have Alzheimer's, which he didn't. He was just being funny.
Yeah.
Then taking like really being interested in knowing this guy.
Yeah.
And nobody's watching her, and it's not a typical thing where
it's not virtuous. Yeah.
Like his son is like this dashing guy. No.
Not at all.
Doesn't even have a son. Like
she's
just
caring. Yeah, she just cares.
Exactly.
It's very interesting because it would almost feel unbelievable. Do you know what I mean? Nowadays, you know what I mean? Like someone could just.
That's true.
Just be nice to your elders like that. You know what I mean? It's crazy. Like it's great.
But also not just that. I mean, there's moments where I think before she actually gets out, she's greeting the gardener. She's greeting like the cleaning lady.
Yeah.
She's calling them by name, and it
quietly establishes who she is. Yeah.
100%. 100%.
100%. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, they have a nice talk at the dinner table, and eventually we get exposition as she lets out her frustration on a guy about this guy. He tells her that she's a background character in her own movie, which affects her for the first time. Maybe she just needed to hear it from a stranger. You know what I mean? Sometimes a stranger laying it out will just helps out, which is a real thing. Sometimes, you know what I mean? When someone doesn't know, this is the kind of person you are, so this is happening. They don't know you, and they assess the situation. Sometimes having that random assessment can help. You know what I mean?
Definitely. Hearing what you already know from someone else really does something to you.
Especially if they can suss it out within 2 seconds and you're out here mulling it over for the rest of your life, for years.
Exactly.
Amanda, okay, we cut 103 minutes in, we cut back to Amanda, and she's blackout drunk. He chooses to stay with her, which she loves. He gets a call from another girl, and we get a firm idea that this man is a player.
Because he answers I think he answers the phone outside.
Yes. He gets a call, and then we see that it's someone called Sophie. Then he runs outside to go answer the call.
Right.
We're animated, and she's like, Sophie. She's kind of, So they go out they have a nice little date. They go on a date. But because she's so high strung, she's like, I've done this. Like, we all done this thing where suddenly, you're trying to ask questions on a date, and suddenly it becomes an interrogation. Like, do you know what I mean?
Dude, I don't want to lie. I get that all the time. I've dated people who've told me that I'm interviewing them, and to me it was not that was not my intention.
Exactly.
I'm just a curious person.
Yeah. Definitely. Like, because you just I'm trying to know about you, and it turns out I was born in 1947. My grandmother did this. Look, sir, don't shoot. And I get it. That's why I'm like, you gotta try. It's like almost an art form. Do you know what I mean? Casual conversation.
We are dissecting films.
Yeah.
We are answering questions that we've probably had in our heads for decades.
Yeah.
A normal conversation will probably go like this with anybody else.
Yes. We get his backstory and we get hers, and the exposition about her and the pain about what makes her her. The plot line about her crying comes in, and he puts her at ease about it, and she has a calmer, happier time because of it. It becomes a wonderful date.
Yes.
In between all, there's a split second where her smile falters because she's still struggling with her inner demons.
Right.
But the energy comes back in like it never happened. But when the date ends, she chooses to go outside alone. She chooses to go home alone, and they part ways.
This is the second time she wanted to go home.
Yeah.
Jeez.
But now we hit the middle of the story. It's a bit complicated whether it's a bit of a high or a low moment here. I would say it's a high, actually. But anyway, we get Miles coming into the house. Yeah.
If there's someone watching us for the first time, when you're saying mid low point, high low point, what do you mean?
Basically, in the middle of the story, most stories, if not almost all of them, by the time you hit the middle of the story, you'll end up with an extreme high point and extreme low point, and then the rest of the story will either flow down from a high point or up from a low point, and then until
you could say an example would be like in Black Panther, where Killmonger throws T'Challa off a cliff.
Yes, that would be a low point. Yes,
right.
And he meets his ancestors and becomes even lower.
Right.
Yeah, and then he has to dig deep to work his way up, basically.
Yes.
Die Hard would be, of course, the high point, where he's like, where at first he's like, oh, okay, everything's gonna be okay. The police are here. They're gonna come in and take things out, only for it to become everything for things to go down as Hans's plans start working. Takes out the tank, cuts Bruce Willis's legs, basically.
Right.
He's injured. Finds out about the wife. Things start going down. He gets the money. Things start going down, and Bruce Willis tries to fight back. So that's almost all stories will have this at this point. Right. It enables pacing to flow smoothly.
Yes.
Cool. Anyway, he comes in holding a FedEx. We see Miles entering the house at a party. He comes in holding a letter with Jasper's notes, and she opens the message, see Jasper's names, looks at it, no notes attached. No, hey, how you doing? Nothing. Just his name. Not even her name, his name. This is shown with visuals as the main story moves on its own. It's kind of inserting the move visual storytelling that's happening. There's kind of a cool move here, basically with visual storytelling. In the America half, right, kind of get a more visual storytelling with her having to kind of everything that we kind of tell is not said. If that makes any sense, like how you say, you know what I mean? Like she greets, how she investigates the room to see what's going on with the old man. Everything is kind of seen. With the British side, we kind of get a little bit, almost like a Bridget Jones level of kind of awkward comedy. You know what I mean? Like with her struggling, with her making all these weird jokes, with her being high strung. Do you know what I mean? It's just almost like this awkward. It's like they almost kind of give her a British style comedy, if you know what I mean.
This is so interesting. I never thought about it. Like it's like whoever wrote this was deliberately saying we're going to use all the American tropes, but put the British in there.
Yeah.
Then use all the British tropes
with the American on the British side. Yes.
I never thought of it like that. Actually,
the two stories are shot differently. They are shot very differently. Like you'd almost think there were two directors in a way. So it's very well done. Do you know what I mean? This is very clever what that they've done here, and it's so subtle.
Shout out to you for actually, you have actually made me see things a lot differently since we started this episode. Yeah, but anyway.
But yeah, this is either an odd coincidence or outstandingly clever storytelling.
Right.
Both sides, there's been great non-verbal moments, but it's more pronounced in the American. It's 100% pronounced in the American version, and I love it.
Yeah.
Anyway, she's in a Jewish Hanukkah party, and Miles fits in immediately. Because again, this is kind of a clue that Miles is perfect for her, because she clearly has an affinity to older people, and Miles just comes in, no awkwardness. Well, he's just already out here spitting jokes, you know what I mean? Because there's like some of us, like I'm awkward around older people. I am. Do you know what I mean? The whole respectful thing can go too far where like you
don't know how to behave.
Exactly.
You want to be a big boy. Yeah. Get it.
There's none of that here. She comes in, they joking with the old man. She comes in joking with the old man. They're out here. They just, you know what I mean?
But you're right. It also goes back to her background, because if you listen to what her brother was saying to Amanda, is that, they grew up in a wholesome family. Like the mom and the dad are successful in their own right. Yeah. So they're used to interacting with, I guess you would say, older people. Yeah. And not once did this man that Kate Winslet is with, Iris is with in this movie, mention Cameron Diaz, Amanda. Yeah. He's never asked where is Amanda. Nothing. You know what I mean? So you can tell that there's no connection between him and Amanda.
Yes.
But there's definitely a deep connection between him and Iris.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Like, it makes me think about Zack Snyder and Rebel Moon. Like, there's more stuff to be deciphered in this movie than there is in that movie. There's more deciphering. I'm out here doing work. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Anyway,
Right.
we get Miles' exposition because we haven't gotten his exposition yet. We see a relationship between Miles and his girl. We get a very nice little cut to the old man. Oh, this is such a perfect. I wish I could. We need to do the screen share thing at some point, but at least we get the Discord thing sorted. A nice little cut between her and the old man. Art, played by Eli Wallach, who looks. Art is the old man, by the way, played by Eli Wallach, who looks to Iris with a lot of knowing and says. So basically, what happens is there's a cut, right? So it's like, it's a good thing. So it's like, Iris is over here laughing right in front of the camera, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we kind of see him in the background, and he like looks at her as Miles is saying that thing, and then he like get this look, and then he kind of cuts, and then he says the line, "Well, her loss is our gain." You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, yes.
And you realize that's all they had to say there. Like you can understand that he understands what's going on immediately.
Yes.
So, which adds a whole second context to the line. So, remember, the main context is, well, yeah, I guess that's her loss. But because of that look, we can tell there's a second meaning there.
Because he sees the chemistry that these two have.
Yes, exactly. So now we get the play on the thoughts. It's kind of that scene in Rebel Moon that we discussed last time, where we see the bird staring at something, and then the guy stares at something, but it's done with one cut.
Right.
One cut. That one, you have to look at the thing, and then the action scene happened. That one, just the one cut. That's all. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's badass. Without a word, so nothing's actually being said, but we all understand what just happened.
100%. And he even to even take it further, he's like, gentlemen, I think we need to give these two, time.
Yes.
So you could tell he's reading what's happening.
Yeah.
He's being a good friend. Let's put it that way.
Being a playmaker, yes.
Yeah.
Cool. So we get a quick fade to them packing up a doggy bag for Miles as she's prepping to go. As he's happy to go, and as they just enjoy each other's company. Miles kisses her cheek twice and wants to watch a movie with her without meaning Netflix and chill. So this is from before those days. But you can clearly tell something is forming in his mind too.
Yes.
We cut to Amanda in the bath. We cut back to England, and Amanda's in the bath annihilating herself for whatever she was saying with her weird goodbye that she did, and how it didn't make any level of sense.
Right.
You get the trailer voiceover, which makes things so much worse as it plays out exactly what's going on.
Right.
Again, this is actually very clever right now, because where one story we get visual cues with the whole looking thing, in the British version we get a voiceover, almost Bridget Jones style. We get a voiceover telling us what's going on. The other one we have to deduct. We have to deduce. Sorry, that's the word, deduce. And the other one is just telling the trailers like, this is what's happening. So I see the two contrasts.
And also, it's a bit interesting. I think this is not the first time we've mentioned this before, but
yeah,
the only time Kate Winslet narrates anything is in the beginning.
Yeah. That is
the story does not continue with her narrating any part of that story again whatsoever.
Exactly.
Which makes you wonder, was she reading something she had written to someone?
Maybe to herself, maybe. But yeah, no, definitely. Or maybe it was the article that we saw there that you had to finish.
Right.
It could have been. Read the article before she sent it. Yeah, it's 100% possible. Anyway, Amanda goes to Graham's house and she apologizes. But then Graham's acting weird. So she thinks there's another girl in the house because of Playboy stuff that's been set up.
Yeah.
Only to find out that Graham has two girls. Two girls he was thinking of were actually the two girls that you saw on the phone were his children, destroying the Playboy narrative. So that whole build-up, subversion of expectations right there. Yeah. We find out he's a widower, changing the dynamic completely, not even divorced. We get blatantly overly cute moments where he's just a dad with these adorable children. Like it is
those children knocked those roles out of the park, bruh. Like,
oh yeah, those were nice kids right there. Just adorable, dude. Just you know what I mean?
Dude, I felt like I was with them in that room.
Dog.
Especially when they were all lying down.
Yeah.
I felt like I was there with them. Like, oh man. Like whoever wrote this movie was good. That whole Mr. Napkin Head thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it was just wholesome.
It was very wholesome, considering what we all thought was happening before. Yes. Exactly. Yeah. The pair are alone with each other, and we see a breakdown of who he is. Things get complicated as they open up more and more to each other. The idea of her leaving becomes a lot tougher. So again, I think I said before it was a high, right? I think I said it was a high.
Yes, you did.
So now things are getting tense for her. So for her, it's becoming a low now at this point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I think that's why it's so confusing, because for the other girl, things are kind of growing, whereas the other one, things are kind of falling apart as the ticking clock kicks in.
Right.
Iris is at the peak of her joy. So it's almost like two opposite storylines here. Because Iris couldn't be happier, where Amanda's like freaking out. Iris couldn't be happier. She's just having fun dealing with art. Iris sees that Art has qualified for a Lifetime Achievement Award, setting up this plot. Art doesn't want to crawl his way onto the stage, so he doesn't want the award. But she's like, no, you have to. So we get a training montage of Iris and Art working together.
Would you say this is his B plot?
See, now here's the thing. Actually, I discussed this later on. I almost want to say it's not a B plot, because I remember what I said the purpose of a B plot is to show what happens when the character makes another decision. So if you think about it like that, if you define a B plot as that, then no, it's not a B plot.
Okay, because I was also going to ask if Jet Black's story in the movie is a B plot, but
yes, that's what I was going to say. I'm probably going to end up saying that later on now, but yes, that's
it. Let me not ruin it. We'll get there.
Cool. 1 hour and 31 minutes in, Iris gets a call from Graham and Amanda, and she has to bounce back and forth until she realizes what's going on. I think you saw it in the trailer, but they're just so funny. It's like, oh my God, you're sleeping with you're banging your man. It's like, oh my God, he told you.
Yes, that's how actually I remember when I was a lot younger when I saw that trailer. That's the thing that made me interested in this movie. It's like, oh, what's happening here? You know,
right, that's such an interesting clip.
Because that's the first time they actually spoke over the phone with each other. And it just so happens that she calls the same time her brother was calling her. You know, what a coincidence.
What a coincidence, definitely.
Yeah. And I like how she figured it out without, because they kept on saying, oh, how is she doing? Is she okay? And then, no, I don't know. I'll ask her. No. Okay, I don't know. I'll ask him. Immediately, when Amanda said what she said, then she goes straight to him. I cannot believe.
Yeah, and she goes to him again. It's so funny. She gets hit twice. It turns out he hung up. Yeah. The whole phone call section is fantastic exposition and storytelling as you bounce from one plot to the other, with Iris at the center, and even Miles enters the fray, which is I just thought was a funny scene. Yes.
Yeah, because he was like, am I calling it a bedtime? What's going on?
Yeah. Actually, while she's freaking out, yeah, it's fantastic. Then it cuts to them, Miles and her having a date, basically. Well, date. Miles, they choose a movie together, and at the DVD store, we get some classic Jack Black as Miles starts talking about all the different movie scores and starts singing. Because I swear Jack Black plays Jack Black all the time.
Dude, he was himself, dog.
Dog, this man, and this movie was from 2002. So I'm like, maybe he became like this later on. Nah, he's always been like this.
He's been, dog.
He's been like this the whole time. He has been Tenacious D from birth, dude. Yeah, that's who he's been. Anyway. Yeah.
I don't know. When I was watching that scene, I was like, Rob is probably gonna like this. Because think about it, this movie is about cinephiles. Like they're surrounded by, like, there's a lady who does trailers. There's a guy who does movie scores. There's an old man who was in the film business.
A writer, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like it's just surrounded by creatives.
Oh yeah. And they're talking about the things they love. They're talking about Casablanca.
Chariots of Fire and
Chariots of Fire, yes. Jaws. Yeah. It's and
funny enough, did you see the cameo? Did you see the Dustin?
Yes, Anthony Hopkins. Yes. I can't even. I was like, dude. And
what did you say? I can't go anywhere or something.
Yeah, I can't go anywhere. Yes.
Brilliant.
It's so funny because nowadays, who would even know what The Graduate is?
Exactly, bro. Exactly. Because when you look at the cover, Dustin Hoffman looks young, dog.
Oh.
And when you see him commenting, he's old with white hair. Like, yeah.
It reminds me, we should do Kramer versus Kramer. That should be one.
It's on my list. It's on my list of movies we need to discuss. It's been on my list, dog, since last year.
Nice. Yeah. Cool. Anyway, now there's a bit of a writing breakdown I want to do right now. There's a writing convention that we all know, and that's that you want your characters to stay likable. Something that we always complain about nowadays, especially with, seems to be happening with a lot of these more, I don't want to say woke movies, but these more empowered movies, let's call it that, where these characters don't seem to be likable anymore. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh God, why are they just douchebags? Do you know what I mean? And then it's a movie in a way. So now with this one, this whole thing where people basically want your character to be likable, right? As likable as possible. Right. And now with Iris bonding with Miles, there's an issue. Miles can't just dump his girl just because there's a better girl over there. Do you know what I mean? You can't just do that.
No.
And also, it's his character type. He's supposed to be super loyal. Movies will rarely ever break this rule. So what they'll do is they'll make the other girl or guy a monster.
A douche. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Liar, Liar of all movies is actually an example of a movie keeping the other guy good. But even then, with that one, the ex-wife doesn't actually come back to him. The role being played, but ironically, the guy, have you seen the movie Liar, Liar with Jim Carrey?
No.
You're lying to me right now.
I'm not. I've only seen the end. Every time I watch that movie, it's always at the end, at the court scene. Every single time. Yeah.
So strange. Well, anyway, I was going to say, funny enough, the boyfriend there, right? Or the new boyfriend, new guy. She stays with new guy, right? Funny enough, new guy plays the Emperor guy from Rebel Moon, the one I was telling you about. That guy who, for some reason, you don't know. I need to add Princess Bride to our list. But anyway, just thought fun trivia.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
But it's also similar to Miss Doubtfire. Remember Miss Doubtfire, Pierce Brosnan, he was not a bad guy. Like Pierce Brosnan's character he was a good guy. He was a good boyfriend.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good point. Yes, I never thought about that. You're right.
Yeah.
But it's rare that they'll do that. They'll do what
it's very rare. Remember I was telling you about Past Lives? Mm-hmm. Please watch it. We need to really, because something like that also happens there. Where you're like, he's not a bad guy. Yeah.
Sometimes it's not your fault. Do you know what I mean? But anyway, so to keep Miles likable, right? Who do we see out the window? It's Miles' girlfriend cuddling with another man when she was supposed to be in New Mexico shooting a film. This is devastating as he goes out to see her, and out the window we get the scene of things going down, played purely visual. No need for her to talk, as we established before. Yeah. And
you're right. But at the same time, you could say this had to happen so that Iris could actually see herself in Jack Black.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So multiple purposes, which is always good. A scene should always have more than one reason to be there. If you want to be that's my advice. The scene should always have more than one reason to be there. So anyway, Iris we fade to the next scene. Iris supports him and identifies with him perfectly because he is going through exactly what her story started with.
Mm-hmm.
It makes him perfectly fit into her void. This movie is directed by Nancy Myers and written by her too. And holy shit, she is genuinely great. Along with many other movies I plan on watching, The Intern, which came out in 2005 with Anne Hathaway and Robert De Niro. She's done 8 movies and all of them are great. We've gotten her moment breaking down. We've gotten a moment breaking down of what's happening to her inside. It's the dark heart of the soul. Another writing convention that always happens. We also have the Graham situation with the ticking clock hanging overhead, too, as we get to what his heart is like. And like an action movie or a children's movie, we are gearing up for Act 3 right now.
Right.
Dark Heart of the Seal. In the same way we discussed with Toy Story 3, Buzz and Woody. When Buzz gives up and they kind of talk to each other, and then the third act.
Toy Story 1, yes.
Yes, Toy Story 1, yes. It's the same principle. That's what's happening here. But it hasn't happened yet. We get a montage of the different people as Amanda is still trying to make herself cry as the days wind down and Graham shows up, all while Miles becomes a part of the effort to join in to help Art. So now these things are kind of like, they've kind of flowing together now. They're kind of caught up to each other in a way.
Right.
Miles makes music for Iris, and it's a wonderful moment, which changes to fun when Jack Black sings, because it's Jack Black, so he has to sing. I think it's in his contract that he has to sing at least one. We move to Amanda and Graham in bed together. They acknowledge the ticking clock and are trying to set up a long-distance relationship and lay out the disaster of long-distance relationships and how they don't work. The high-strungness of Amanda makes her just lay out the worst cases. And then Graham admits that he's in love. It's a confession. Graham just wants to take the plunge. He wants to go all in. And but she can't do anything because she's battling with herself.
Yeah, because she was speechless. It was more of a anticlimactic response.
Oh yeah.
Which is understandable given that her character is very, like you were saying, she's very
high strung, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's not forget, she remembers her dad walking away for the last time.
Exactly.
It's very well interwoven. And without having been, no one had to be like, what if this has to do with your dad? No one does that. Do you know what I mean?
No one does what?
There's no scene where Jude Law is like, maybe this has to do with your dad. Do you know what? There's none of that. It's all in your own head.
Yeah.
If this was a Rebel Moon movie, they'd be like, someone would have walked in, the robot would have come in and said, "Are you sure?"
Since she was a young girl.
Your dad.
Ever since she was a young girl.
Yeah. Exactly. Oh God! And then slow motion as well. Don't forget that.
Exactly.
We are now fully in the third act. We get Miles and Iris talking. Maggie calls. She misses Miles, and Miles breaks like glass. This man just folds like toilet paper.
Which is understandable.
Yeah.
Especially if you didn't do anything wrong.
What?
Like, as usually in a relationship, when you didn't do anything wrong, you're more inclined to want to go back to the person who did you wrong.
Yeah. And that's kind of what they've been setting up this whole time, yes.
Yeah.
But anyway, cool. Iris, seeing what she's used to, is now seeing it happen to someone else live. Like she's watching a live show.
Yeah.
It's the perfect B plot inside of a plot, inside of the A plot. By having the same thing happen to the love interest and a low putting her in a position to see it. In fact, it might have even been cool to see her act as a mentor, but instead the story takes an even cooler turn as she sees all the signs but is insecure herself and dealing with the same issues. So she takes a takes a step back.
Yeah, I mean,
She really shouldn't.
she couldn't. But honestly, how could she have been a mentor if she's still going? She's going through the same thing herself.
Yeah, but she understands. But instead of maybe seeing it from the outside, going in and go, "Don't do this," kind of like, you know, when a gangster sees a young gangster, a kid who was like, "I want to be a gangster," and the kid's like, and the grown-up's like, "Yeah, don't do this."
Don't do it, yeah.
You know what I mean? But instead of doing that, she just takes a step back. I think she knows that there's no talking him out of this. You know what I mean? You can't talk someone out of hell. So, yeah. So, yeah. Like a drug addict watching someone else break, she now finds herself breaking as she picks up Jasper's papers. And Jasper calls, and she has to explain herself to him. And until before she knows it, Jasper's there. Jasper shows up. He says he has to see her. Jasper is saying all the things,
Yeah.
as he always does.
Yeah.
That's his terrible superpower. We cut to Maggie and Miles as Maggie apologizes for the whole thing. That's the first time she talks, actually. Yeah, that's kind of the first time she talks, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But even in her apologies, it's like, I realized that that man was not who I thought he was.
Yep.
Meaning, if he was who she thought
Exactly.
she was, she wouldn't have come back.
Exactly. That's exactly right. So it's basically the other guy.
Jasper, yeah.
Yeah, not Jasper. The guy that the one that Amanda ditched.
Edward Burns.
Yeah, the gaslighting right there. We see Amanda in bed, still unable to sleep. This is it. It's decision time. Now, this is also an interesting convention. In a romance, this will be the moment of maximum willpower. This is unique. It's not exactly exclusive to romance, but in action movies, it can be described as, in an action movie, this won't happen. In an action movie, what will happen is it'll just be the good guy hitting the bad guy harder in a climax. Yeah. You know what I mean? What he'll do is he'll have the power of willpower. And then he does it. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
That's basic. Think of Superman Returns with, what's his name? What's that guy's name again?
Christopher Reeve.
Brendan
Routh.
What's it again?
Brendan Routh.
There we go. Like where he's like lifting the island. That's his. All he had to do was push harder. Do you know what I mean? That wasn't a decision. But that's the climax of him just pushing through. Or like.
Didn't Spider-Man do the same thing in? I mean, sure, they were following the comic book, but I think it was in Homecoming, where he had to carry himself out of the rubble and all that.
Yes. Oh yeah, when they dropped the thing on him. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but basically the idea is you effort harder.
Yeah.
There's no decision being made there. You effort harder.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even movies like Rocky, you effort harder. I don't want to fall down. Great.
Don't fall down.
Do you know what I mean, though?
Right.
That's why I always like to discuss whenever I talk about the dark heart of the souls in our older videos. It's because that point over there is actually the last decision being made. Wait, okay, here we go. Yeah, good guy hitting the bad guy harder. The superhero laughs, yells, and then they hit the heavy thing. And then they lift the heavy thing. Do you know what I mean? Or they punch the guy a little bit harder, of course. In Justice League, the Snyder Cut, it's the Flash choosing to run a little bit faster to slow down time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or it's Rocky choosing to get back up, or it's Star-Lord choosing to be a little bit braver when he steps out to face the accuser in the first movie. You could call it a climax of sort. The climax is very complicated because most of the time the choice has been made already. In the beginning of the third act, even in the Avengers movies, when the third act kicks off, that means the choice has already been made.
You're absolutely right. It's like those 80s martial arts movies where by the choices being made already means it's round 3.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Then the moment that is supposed to be the climax is just Van Damme remembering what his master told him halfway through the movie. But he's already made the decision to fight this person.
The choice to fight was made already. The point
Yeah.
of no return is already being crossed.
Right.
So the climax is most of the time the climax will actually have more to do with the consequences of a choice, not the choice itself. And in this, what you call it? This is why romances can be a lot more unique in this, because a lot of the time the choice hasn't actually been made yet.
Right.
The choice to run to the airport,
Yes.
the airport.
Look, you read my mind. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, the choice hasn't been made yet. So in a way, that kind of makes romances very, 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 very unique.
Mm.
That's a great thing to end with, is a choice, right? But this though in filmmaking has consequences though, because anything that happens after that tends to be boring. So what they'll do is they'll make that final choice, and the movie will end almost immediately afterwards.
Oh yes, it ends at the airport.
Yes, so it ends there. So for example, I've got two examples here. David Fincher has two examples I can think of this working. That being Fight Club and Gone Girl. Ben Affleck's character choosing to stay in Gone Girl, because remember, after everything that goes on, right?
I still haven't watched Gone Girl. I know.
Okay, luckily I did not say anything more, so it's not that much of a spoiler. So then Edward Norton's character choosing to let the bombs go off.
Yes.
He had a choice there. He could have stopped the bombs.
Yeah, he could have stopped
exactly.
there. Right.
Then 2 sentences later, the movie ends.
Right.
So that's an example of a action movie having a choice in the climax, as opposed to the consequence being in the climax.
Right.
You understand? Yeah.
Damn, man. I honestly have never really thought of it. Because to me, climaxes are exactly what we're explaining all along.
Yeah.
The guy thinking about what his master taught him, and then.
But it's not actually a choice.
But he's already made the choice to fight the villain in the first place.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Generally, at this point, it's the height of emotion and the choice before it reaches its peak. As a climax being a consequence of the choice. A climax being the consequence of the choice would be, have you seen Taxi Driver by Scorsese?
Yes.
Fantastic. Now, his choice, Bickle's choice to go after those guys has already been made. The actual fight, which is the climax of the movie, is not the choice. It's just the consequence of the choice.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So that's an example of the choice not being in the climax, but being early in the beginning of the third act. You know? So that's the difference. So you kind of get the difference between Fight Club and like Taxi Driver.
Yes.
Anyway, sometimes when you end in a choice, especially with romance, it can feel like too much of a choice for the hero. And sometimes the writer can get nervous because sometimes a choice can make you unlikable. So the writer gets nervous, and like with Miles, just like with the Miles cheating moment, with Maggie cheating, you know what I mean? We kind of get a moment where Iris realizes that Jasper, despite being desperate to see her, hasn't actually broken up with his fiancée yet. He has not changed.
Because I think he says, I don't want to lose you. It's just, you don't want to lose me.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yeah, what do you mean by that? Exactly. And that because he hasn't changed, that kind of undermines her choice, because now instead of her being like, you know what, I just don't feel it. Nope. Turns out Jasper's an effing asshole. So she's like, and that settles things. It's finally done.
Right.
She tells him the truth for once, and she says it's over, and she officially falls out of love. She breaks free of Jasper and runs to collect art. Which reminds me, which is a funny question. Was she gonna ditch art? Like, because remember, all of this stuff is happening on the same day. From Maggie, going from Miles and Maggie, it's all one day.
No, I don't think so, because as we've mentioned earlier on, it's in a nature to be kind, overly kind.
Yeah.
So I think she would have invited Jasper to this thing.
Maybe, but I just feel like it felt very close together. Like, what is happening right now? Oh yeah, that's right. This is all the same day. But it's
unless if there was hanky panky involved there.
They might have been awkward.
Yeah, she wouldn't have gone, obviously.
No, we're in a problem. But anyway, we get to see a massive crowd has showed up for art. Because remember, one of the exposition scenes says no one's going to show up. He was really nervous about this. He's going to look bad to the few people that are there. No one's going to show up. It's going to be a disaster. But Art walks out all slow. He does a better job than Joe Biden. And the music.
Dude, that acting was amazing because you could see that guy was perfectly fine walking.
Yeah, it was beautiful. And then the music comes, and it turns out that Miles had made the music for him, and it plays, and it's beautiful. Because there's a moment where he's like all sad and stuff like that, but the music inspires him. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Fantastic. Maggie shows up. Miles shows up and says things are over with Maggie. Miles and Maggie,
Iris.
and Iris are just perfect for each other. Cool. We open on 2 hours and 2 minutes in. We open on Amanda still running on the no rules idea as Amanda prepares to leave. Unlike the other two, the kiss has an entirely different context.
Right.
With, Amanda struggling to leave. Like with their first goodbye, with the first big kiss, it has one full meaning. With this kiss, it's a whole other depressing context. She's in the car struggling with her heartburn. She keeps rubbing her chest. It's been happening all the time.
Yes.
That she's been having, and then she cries. She is thrilled at crying as we get the reward of the what is called the argument of the theme. Now, for those who don't know what the argument of the theme is, it was basically there'll always in every movie, well, in most movies, what will happen? There'll be a moment where the main character will discuss something with someone, and then that discussion point will be what the movie is generally about. For example, a good example would be this movie where the Eric Burns, I forgot the guy's name, the character's
Edward
name.
Burns.
Yes,
yeah.
Edward Burns says, "Oh, you just don't care. You're not even crying, even as you break up." That scene right there where she's like, "You're like this," and then all that comes together to be represented by this scene. That's an argument of the theme. That's the climax of the theme. So it sets up there the discussion and then comes in. A bad example of this is because I'm a Snyder fan, but he really made me angry. So with Rebel Moon.
Right.
Rebel Moon is a bad example because there's a scene where the old man and Cora, I think it's Cora.
Yes.
Having a discussion. It's like, "Oh, you should go meet someone, be in love." And it's like, I don't think I deserve anyone's love. Do you know what I mean? And it culminates, what should have happened was maybe him and that guy, they fall in love. You know what I mean?
Ghana.
It ends him and her and Cora and Gunnar, and something that says we're in love.
Right.
That never actually happens. Yeah.
Yes.
Gunnar saves her. Cool. But that doesn't prove the theme. That doesn't prove that she's worthy of love. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't prove that she's worthy of love at all.
Yes.
Not even connected.
Yes.
So that argument of a theme of love is not connected to the final thing. It's not connected.
So it makes you wonder why even show it.
Yeah, why was that conversation?
Not have a purpose later on.
Makes no sense.
Right.
So that's done wrong. This is done right. Even though I'd say it's a bit obvious, but it's done right.
Right.
Yeah. So that's very cool conventions. Anyway, she runs back in high heels. Very different person from the last time.
Yes.
She's clearly evolved.
Now she's looking forward to going there.
Yeah. And she wants to stay for New Year's and all. We get a fade, and Iris is back in England, and Miles is there too. Everyone is celebrating New Year's together. The music swells over the story diegetically as they all dance to the music that's playing.
You know what's so interesting about the scene? Mm-hmm. It's the first time seeing Miles and Amanda together. It's also the first time seeing Iris and Jude Law's character together.
Graham, yeah.
Not over the phone or anything. And it's the first time seeing Amanda and Iris together. So it's like all these characters that know about each other have told us, the viewer, that they know each other. This is the first time actually seeing all of them together, interacting with each other
It's like
at
a
different
fate.
times.
Yeah. It's like fate or like star-crossed lovers.
Yes.
It's a very, it's a big feeling of fate, and now all these elements have come together to like, it's beautiful. Yeah.
It truly is. You know, this is the same feeling that I got when I watched The Big Wedding with Robert De Niro, is that it's a shame that this is a movie and not a series. Because you want to know what happens next with these characters, especially Miles and Iron.
Yeah, but that's the way to leave on a high note. I want you to leave you wanting more. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's a nice way to leave things. But yeah, moving on, the camera pulls out from the building, and the final image is of everyone happy and dancing together. Everyone's in love. This movie is better than it has any right to be. I am grateful that this is really the first time I've ever seen it. This
is your first time?
Yeah, this is my first time. It's one of those movies where you think you've seen it because you've seen so many clips.
Right.
The only time that you actually watch it, like, no, I've never seen this movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a sweet old school romance. I feel like it flew under the radar in its time, despite being a huge profit. Bridget Jones made about the same amount of money. I think it made 280 million actually. Oh. But Bridget Jones, Bridget Jones had a far higher profit margin because their one was 25 million. So this was 25 to 280 million. It's crazy. 220 million of 85 for The Holiday, and then 280 of 25 for Bridget Jones. It didn't reach its level of iconics, unfortunately, but in a way I can understand why. This is a romantic story that's paced and fits to the romance conventions a lot better than amazing, and has an amazing polish to it. Right. But Bridget Jones has more heart, I think. But I think The Holiday has greater film work to it. And I feel like I've missed out on admiring a director when it comes to this movie. Like, I feel like I've missed out on this director. Do you know what I mean? Nancy, yeah.
No, I agree with you, because that's also the same feeling that I got when I started getting into her.
Yeah.
Because when I started doing research, and I think I told you before that Tarantino actually says that he considers her to be one of the best directors. You know, Tarantino of all people. Yeah. So
it makes sense.
I started paying more attention to her and started checking out her films, and I realized, wow, this woman is actually quite good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's just underrated as a director.
She created a great story. It's perfectly contained. I gave Bridget Jones a 7, and I feel like this deserves a 7 out of 10 as well. Whereas Bridget Jones punched through because it had so much heart. Right. This punches through because it's been put together so well. There are things you saw coming a mile away, but that's okay. When I order food, I expect to see my food coming a mile away too. This is exactly what I ordered.
Looking at you, Uber Eats.
Yes. And when I want to watch a romance, and so this is what I wanted. So this is great. I'm so happy.
Wow.
Thoughts?
Look, I agree with you. I think, man, there's so much to dissect about this movie. I mean, we've already done that, but the 4 main characters, I like the fact that they didn't force the relationship between Miles and Iris. No, it was organic.
100% set up.
Whereas with these two, also, I wouldn't say it was forced with Amanda, and I just don't remember this.
Graham.
Who?
Graham.
And Graham. Their relationship was also not forced, but you do understand why Amanda was impulsive, right? So I like that about this dynamic, where there's complexities in their characters and their decision making, but nothing feels forced. Like you're saying, you do see certain things a mile away, but this is not too cheesy. There's nothing really cheesy about anything that's going on here. And I think that's why it works. Because when Jasper came, I thought, oh, they're getting back together. When Millicent called, I thought, oh, okay, he's going back to her. When Amanda saw Graham and saw that grandma, I was uncomfortable. I thought, oh, there's another woman in that house. All my expectations were not met, you know, in any of those moments. But yeah, I would give it an 8. I think it's and I just don't remember. I don't keep track on this the ratings that I give the movies like you do. Maybe I should. But yeah, for those reasons alone, I think these characters are so complex that the decisions they made so much sense than the nonsensical decisions that some people make in ordinary romantic movies. Where like you knew this girl for 24 hours and now you want to spend the rest of your life with her. How?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? With them, they're realistic. No, I just met you, we had sex, that's fun, but I'm going to America. Like, oh, okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow,
I
man.
can't give up my life. I still have a life. But
Exactly.
Anyway.
Exactly.
Try anyway. Yeah. And she was scared to try, and she tried. And that's all they could ask for. Whether or not they'll stay together, we'll have to see. They probably will.
Yeah. And, you know, on the surface, I guess I never really thought about it until I saw this movie again today. I was like, Kate Winslet and Jack Black are an odd pair. You wouldn't ordinarily see Kate Winslet with a Jack Black.
Jack Black's character would be played by Ryan Gosling today. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly, dog.
Exactly. That's like Jack Black being there is it's so unique and so great. I'm so glad they picked Jack Black.
He killed it, dog.
We don't have to have everyone out here with a square jaw. You know what I mean?
But also even his acting, because in as much as he has those scenes where he's doing clang, 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 Chariots of Fire. Apart from that scene, almost every other part of this movie, like you see Jet Black in a different light. You're like, this guy is amazing. Like his acting chops are just out of this world. I believed everything about his character. I saw him as this genius who knew a lot about music, and is very emotionally intelligent, and takes his time when he wants to court someone, and also loves making friends. Funny enough, whether you're old or you're just some hot woman that he's never met before.
Yeah.
He takes his time and forms genuine relationships. That's a well-rounded character for me.
I think he's someone who's like aggressively in love. Like when he's in love with someone, he's in love with them.
He goes in, yeah, 100%. And funny enough, you know, it's so weird. Like, I wouldn't say it's weird, but it's something I've noticed. He always compliments Iris. Oh, you look great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he always notices Iris. And I feel like that's something that she's always wanted.
Yeah.
When someone who's giving you a compliment as a gift.
Yeah. As opposed to a setup for asking for some help or something like that, like Jasper.
Yes.
You know, as opposed to a piece of manipulation. Like his ones are just like they put like this. It's like Jasper's compliments are a trade, and Miles' compliments are a gift.
Okay. Because initially when I was talking about the gift, I was referring to Jasper. But what you just said now topples what I was saying about him giving her a gift, whereas he got like this nice gift.
Yeah.
And he's like, yo, a compliment.
Yep.
Should suffice. But with him, it's like selfless emotions. Yeah. But anyway, that's what I think, man. That's what I think.
And it is a great thing to think, man.
Yeah. Is there anything you want to say before or you want to plug the book?
Yep. Hey guys, please get the book. Action adventure, world hopping, goes further and further the more you read. I hope you guys check it out. Jin's War. Please support if you can. It's literally the price of a Big Mac, a medium Big Mac. In fact, I think it might be cheaper. But yeah, the ebook.
I think it's cheaper. It's cheaper than a Big Mac.
Yeah, because $50. Yeah, so.
Yeah. Yeah, guys, please do check out June's War and let us know your thoughts. And also, if you want to hit up Rob about your thoughts about June War, I'll leave a link in the description below of his TikTok account so that you can DM him if you wish, or if you want more copies, or if you prefer hard copy versus digital, because I know we're different.
Yeah.
So yeah, please check out that link, and yeah, please let him know your thoughts. Okay, guys, this is myself, Miss Extrodin, with Rob Sibeko. Thank you so much for checking out this video for this long. Our videos seem to be at least 2 hours long.
Yeah.
That's one thing I've noticed.
That's our thing, man. I like it.
Yeah, but please do let us know your thoughts. Do you agree with our rating? Do you agree with our dissection of these characters? Do you think that we should have added something? Let us know. Thank you so much for your comments. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, share, click the notification bell icon so that you can be notified of any other movies that Rob and I are going to be doing in the future. We've mentioned Kramer versus Kramer. We've spoken about Aladdin with Lady Robsy. Yeah, there's a lot that's coming. So do watch the space. And we'll definitely see you on the next one, guys. Thanks. Cheers.
That was good.